Nigeria's Security and Civil Defense Corps is a paramilitary institution that was established in 1967 by the federal government with the sole responsibility of protecting federal government assets, as well as some other areas of interest you get to find out in a while. Internal security threats in Nigeria and other parts of the world is an issue of great concern to members of the public. And with Nigeria still testing its own share of serious incidents of internal security threats, posing serious danger to national security as well as social economic development in the country and even beyond. Now, in view of this, there's been several activities to actually push this agency forward in terms of making sure that we are safe all around the country. Now, the military is there, we say the police is there. What next? But despite the viability of the Nigerian police as well as the other military institutions that you know, the state of insecurity and threats to life and property is still there. So the government, the federal government also still deem it fit that the mandate for the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps will be to assist in the maintenance of peace and order, as well as protection of the civil population, whatever the period that we have. Now, up to today, they're still doing that. And to commemorate this year's World Civil Defense Day, we'll be talking to the gentlemen who know what to do best in terms of securing lives and property around. Welcome to Nigeria Today. My name is Blessing Abu. You get to meet my guests in a short while. I'd like to welcome Nathaniel Ubong. He's the Deputy Commandant General, that's for Technical Services, and also Acting Commandant General, that is representing the Commandant General of the program today. Welcome to the Nigeria Today.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Joining him on set is Aminu Abdullahi Kofasoro. He's the Deputy Commandant General, Director, Critical National Assets and Infrastructure. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much. And
congratulations for another year of celebrating civil defense generally world over. Congratulations to you. And let's get it broken down into pieces. Yes, I've tried to attempt to see what you're supposed to be doing generally, but I'm sure it goes beyond that. Tell us what it is to actually have a civil defense personnel around us.
Thank you very much. The civil defense, as a matter of fact, were created for the purpose of the civil public, to guarantee their safety either in time of emergency or natural disaster. And before we came on board by the Act of Parliament, we were trying to ensure that the safety of the Nigerians were taken paramount interest, especially at its effect during the wartime. In 1967, we provided rescue services for Nigerians who were not acquainted with war and its implications. We taught Nigerians how to dig trenches and run into to escape bullet, to off their light, to ensure that it doesn't contact with light train, to cause massive destructions. And so this is what the civil defense were doing as an observer members of the ICDO until a formal law was put in place, Enabling Act of 2003 and as amended in 2007. So we are all for the civil public to guarantee their safety. That's the primary function of this corps.
Okay. The city, Kofasoro, doing this is not a mean feat, because in doing that you have to confront so many obstacles as well. How easy is it for the personnel, the civil defense personnel, to actually do that which he has been tasked to do?
Thank you very much, Blessing. The existence of Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps is to add value into the whole concept of security. And when you go around, the security is not a one-man business. It's a business of collective responsibilities that will add value to protecting lives and property. So when you look at this day, yesterday was the day of International Civil Defense Day. And the focus of the federal government at that time was how to secure the lives and property of Nigerians from 1967 to the time the civil defense was established. When you look at the functions, the mandate given to Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, in all round of human capture and human development, All the security agencies, it's only NSCDC has gone around to receive training from all the security agencies established. So our operation is quite different from other security agencies. And we move in collaboration, synergy, and concerted efforts with other security agencies and the public to achieve desired results. That's why we are best known in providing actionable intelligence in fighting crime and criminality. That's the difference.
So training is spread across all the other security agencies, which it's a must.
It's not a must, but it's a prerequisite for you to be talented in all rounds, to know what is Nigerian police is doing, what is Nigerian army is doing, what is DSS is doing, what is AFCC. All these agencies who have gone around to have training so that we know how to collaborate and work together.
Okay, of course, from the period that DCG Natal talked about, in the 60s, after the war, during the Civil War, till date, times, of course, have moved for everyone, and fighting or protection of lives and property those days is different from what you're confronted with today. Share with us the greatest concern as an agency or as an institution. What are your greatest concerns today, different from what part of the things you were trained for back then and what you have today?
Thank you. When the government considered the activities of the Corps and the need to spread the services across the length and breadth of the nations, an act of parliament was passed into law, and functions and duties were itemized for the Corps to handle. And one of those functions that is critical is the maintenance of peace and order in the society. It cut across other agencies of government. It also affects the civil public to be able to ensure your neighborhood also is safe. For instance, if somebody is sleeping in his house and forget to lock your door, you can knock your neighbor and say, please close your door. That shows the concern of the ordinary citizens. And so we were given the mandate to ensure that we provide protections to all critical infrastructure and national assets, where my colleagues represent as the director in that department. So as I speak, every government installations and equipment, cables of what you're doing, and water installation pipes and the oil pipelines, all are under the watchful eyes of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps. Our personnel have been trained to ensure they provide 24-hour services over these infrastructures. And so that becomes an enlarged mandate. The Corps also have been saddled with responsibility to train the private gas services and issue them license, and so that nobody comes to practice to provide gas services without first and foremost being qualified and have been given a license and register to provide such services. We train their guard to be able to give the services. We have sanitized the industry. And so if you hire a private practitioner who is licensed, you are also adding value to the police work. Okay,
so what kind of relationship do you have? So, talked about private security concerns now.
They have become a part and parcel of our monitoring and supervisions.
Okay.
As part of our mandate.
Okay.
So we monitor and supervise their training, provide training for them, okay, and ensure that they are licensed to operate in line with the profession of the private gas company. Okay. And so we also are involved in crisis management. Like today, crisis management. We have a director in charge of disaster and crisis management. We provide medical emergency to victims of incidents. This year, International Civil Defender is a civil defender and a first aider in the homes. Okay. We've been trained to provide first aid services to accident of victims, whether it's an accident that happened at home, the one they call domestic accidents. Oh, okay. And so Nigerians, we've been trained to provide, to ensure the Nigerians have at least a first aid in their homes, in their car, in their house, in the office where they work, in the factory where they render services, so that at least major injuries can be arrested at the spot before taken to medical facilities for proper.
Okay,
so
I
these
know,
are the large roles of the Corps.
Okay. I know from time to time, especially at least of the most recent one, the elections coverages, we've seen your men at the forefront alongside maybe the Nigerian police as well, having large detachments to police some of the electoral posts and also the polling centers. Yes, inherent dangers are there also for you, for your men, or the personnel that you also dispatch here and there. How much of the training goes into this to actually protect themselves too in this regard?
The position of Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps in protecting lives and property and preparedness of our officers and men to take charge of protecting critical asset and national infrastructure, which is one of the functions of Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, as discussed with my acting Commandant General. So much to say, 24-hour surveillance over federal, state, and local government infrastructure sites and projects.
24 hours.
24 hours. Enter and search with or without a warrant.
Oh.
Arrest, detain, investigate, and institute legal proceedings in the name of the Attorney General of the Federation in accordance with the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, who is reasonably suspected to have committed an offense under the Act that established Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, especially the Act, Section 3 of the Amendment Act of the 2003, that is 2007. So that has given us the powers. And why the threat? Under the Office of the Commandant General for efficient and effective operation is to handle firearms. And that is another area where we have the enforcement process. So whoever is in the crisis time, Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps officers and men, in collaboration with other security agencies, which you cannot do it alone, we move again to counter such threats and make the Nigerian happy and work together and bring peace and harmony within the society. All right,
gentlemen, we'll go on this break to bring the views from the public. Where we have conflict of interest, now you just made mention you have to bear firearms, which is one thing another agency is already talking about, and I know for us not to have loggerheads and issues or these unnecessary conflict of interest, we'll find out more how you're able to carry on in that line and everyone is able to do their duty effectively in securing lives and property. You're watching Nigeria Today. Let's get to the street and we'll be right back to continue the conversation.
They are supposed to defend government properties, ensure that there's no crime committed in destruction of these government properties.
It protects the people around civil the order in the society. That is their duty. They are not police. The civil unrest, they are intervened to see that at least everything is in order. That is what civil defense.
The responsibility of Civil Defense Corps, there are so many. Now they protect our federal assets in the pipeline. They protect the pipeline. If you go to the southern side, south, those states, Warri, Bayelsa, I can see them protecting our pipeline. They will not allow those vandals to vandalize our pipeline. And so they have so many roles, see them doing traffic work. Their main duty is to protect the national asset in the area, in the bush side, the pipeline inside the bush.
They are to defend our people now. You understand? They are to fight for us, whereby the police or the soldiers, they are not there. They have to come in a civil way.
I like that part, in a civil way. So how civil have the Civil Defense Corps been to the public? This is my next question, because I'm sure there have been a series of altercations in the past which you have to step in to address in terms of addressing your duties and areas of operations. We've had concerns, some of the areas we talked about, oil installations, such that even some of your men have been fingered to be cooperating with those vandals. So how have you been able to address that and to actually allay the fear of the public in your area of operations?
Yeah, thank you so much. Like you are aware, the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps had this responsibility. And you also are aware that oil still remains a major mainstay of our national economy. And so facilities that carry the crude, the oil, for the refining process to enable us to have oil and sell it and make money to develop our economy. We have a detachment of the Corps that have been saddled with the responsibility to ensure the maintenance of 24-hour surveillance over government infrastructure. We have done this, and we have made Nigerians proud.
How are you? I'm quite interested in, well, I'm sure on behalf of someone talking about that. We've had issues where it's okay, most of these oil installations had to be digitally monitored, or at least technology means and all of that. How equipped is that for you in your institution to actually address that? Because it's okay, yes, we know the number that could have passed through the particular site. What means? What is the technical means for looking out for such?
Well, we have made government to know that technology-driven age is where we are today. And there should be enough infrastructure, technology inclined to enable us to sit down where we are now and monitor pipeline in Delta State, monitor pipeline in Port Harcourt, in Bayelsa, and the rest of them. That has a lot of budget issue. And we have made presentation through the Office of the Commander General to the National Assembly on how to bring in equipment that we're able to enable us, instead of doing the physical work we are doing now, because we have lost a lot of our personnel over piracies and oil thefts. Encounter us in the creeks, and in course of that, exchange of fire and the rest of them, and personnel are lost. And so we have made the government to know that in the age we are today, in technology-driven application, it's more important. It will reduce costs in terms of human loss of life and the rest. And so we are believing that those facilities will be made available to us. It will enhance our operations. But for now, what we're doing is see the physical, where we launch out through intelligence and information process, and we're able to at least make a lot of arrests. We have made a lot of arrests for between 2019 and now. We have arrested over 250 people engaged in activities of
prosecuted or just,
arrest them and prosecuted. At least we have conviction of over 50 people, and put them behind the bar because of their involvement in oil thefts. And so that's exactly what we do. But in civil relationship, our major concern is to stamp out crime and guarantee safety to the Nigerian populace.
Still on that, because earlier on I asked the CJ Kofaso about your placement in election period of some other means that will bring about civil strife.
Yes.
How are you addressing particularly such ones? Some of your men too have been thinking in actually collaborating, just sitting at maybe polls points, just moping, and at the end of the day, criminals or thugs who just come in, snatch ballot boxes, and they are helpless actually doing that.
Yeah, actually, the police are the lead agency in electioneering process, but other agency of government, security agency of government, collaborate with the police to beef up the number, to be able to have a spread of the various location of unit and polling booth and all that. And so what we do, we jointly train. We jointly undergo training to build our capacity to be able to render such an effective services, considering the numerous population that turn out to vote, and to ensure their votes are being counted. A lot of issues, arose in the course of providing this service. Of course, conflict of interest and all that, but we collaborate with the police, with the DSS, with the fire, with the immigration services, and of course even the Federal Road Safety Corps, to jointly together to ensure we have enough spread of personnel to do this monitoring and supervision of the facilities. Even though the facilities of those governments from the INEC still belongs under our watchful eye, because our duty is to protect those infrastructures. And so it is difficult for you to take away ballot box and ballot paper or away in the watchful eye of civil defense.
But there are several instances like that.
You also may have also known our reactions. For those that take boxes in our present very much I know it's not possible.
Okay, but some actually still escape.
Yeah, because maybe we have no spread of such locations of our personnel.
Okay.
But that where we are, a civil defender would not allow you to carry ballot box.
Okay, this is Professor. Let's look at under your own area too, which is critical infrastructure and national safety. Of course, both of you have still talked about that. North, south, east, west. We know there are peculiar terrains, and what you need to do differently to actually address that, alongside the population in those areas. What kind of collaboration do you hold with the communities that you work in?
Vandalism is a critical aspect of critical national assets and infrastructure. It's a menace to control, which is very difficult unless you liaise and cooperate with the communities. Because these types of crime or criminality is taking place within the community. Because the pipes, the NMPC laid down pipes and other infrastructure, especially NITEL, the telecom, and
even in aviation, we've had stowaways running through.
So many things. Yes.
Are you there as well?
So without the community, you can't fight the crime of vandalism, theft. And so we are collaborating seriously with the community, and at all times, because we believe in the intelligence, we believe in the grassroots information, we work with them. That's why we are ahead of others in times of bringing out the criminals and the criminality that is happening in such places. But when it comes to enforcement, Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, one aspect of it is enforcement.
Okay.
Enforcement for deterrent. Deterrent meaning any suspected vandal or criminal on critical national assets and infrastructure, if thoroughly investigated and found to be guilty, that will be tried under Miscellaneous Offences Act.
That's still under
our purview.
Purview, okay. Not that you have to hand them over to...
No, we don't hand over to anybody.
Okay.
We prosecute that suspect under Miscellaneous Offences Act. And if seriously committed that offense, the punishment is 21 years imprisonment.
21 years?
21 years or life imprisonment.
Ooh.
And one interesting thing to know, in the area of vandalism, there are three components: tampering, damaging, and forced removal. And each aspect of it is a charge of its own. And if conviction scale is 21 years, 21 years, 21 years, and is 63 years concurrently. Ooh. For one offense.
I'm sure no one wants.
So that's what we are going now seriously, and part of it we have been securing convictions for that, and so many of them are now in prison. So aspect of vandalism is an issue that we need to collaborate with other security agencies to hand over if arrested on any critical national assets.
All right, thank you very much, gentlemen. I wish we could go on, but of course this is where we're going to draw the curtain for the discussion as you mark another season of World Civil Defense Day. I'm sure your greatest concerns are being addressed all over through your various programs, and we wish you well as you mark another, and also the protection of your personnel for us to have them secured as well, even as they are trying to secure us and the nation's assets. Thank you very much, DCG Nathaniel Obong, in charge of technical service and also representative of the Commandant General. Thank you very much for coming on the program. We'd also like to appreciate Miniko Fasoro, DCG Protection, Critical Infrastructure and National Asset. Thank you very much for coming on the program.
Thank you.
We also appreciate your time with us. Nigeria Today is every weekday live at 7:30 in the evening. You can catch this edition or any other edition at all, or on YouTube address www.youtube.com/NTA News 24 app. My name is Blessing Abu. Enjoy the rest of the evening.